Hey, welcome to the Durkamania Wrestling Show, where comedy and wrestling collide in the ultimate grudge match. I am your host, stand-up comic, and lifelong professional wrestling fan, Dave Durkin. I'm joined alongside my nephew, professional wrestler, Kyle Durkin.
What's going on, guys?
And fellow stand-up comic and lifelong wrestling fan, Josh Wells.
That's me.
Guys, since this is our first show, I think we should probably introduce ourselves a little bit. I guess we'll start in age order. I'm not 45. I started watching wrestling in the late 70s, back when Bob Backlund was the champion. I'm actually old enough to remember when Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Snuka were heels that were challenging Backlund, and so the Wild Samoans and all those, the early Intercontinental champion Pat Patterson. So all that stuff, and then back then wrestling was just kind of Saturday morning. The cable was just kind of getting going, and most kids, I think, stopped watching wrestling about the time they were 15 or so. And I don't know if that would have happened to me or not, but then what happened was actually freshman year of high school was when Hulk Hogan came back, won the championship, Hulkamania got going, and...
obviously it influenced you.
Yeah, then Durkamania got going, and... It was, of course, shortly followed by Cindy Lauper, the whole rock and wrestling connection.
That's
Piper's,
when you started running wild in high school.
Piper's Pit, all that, and then WrestleMania, obviously, and the business was never the same again. And I kept, watching, obviously, and then I did in the late '80s. I sort of switched over to what was later known as WCW, was known as the NWA back then, with Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat went over there at one point. Sting, I felt like they had like more kind of real wrestling. WWF at the time was doing more gimmicky stuff. But
Doink the Clown.
That wasn't quite Doink the Clown yet.
Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
The Gobbledygook.
The guy.
Friggin' the turkey and the egg.
But I'm guessing, and then that was probably around when Josh, you're about 10 years younger. I'm guessing that's when you started.
I started as a kid, rock and roll, the rock and wrestling era. It was, like you said, it was on Saturday, so it's part of the Saturday morning cartoon tradition. You watch a bunch of Saturday morning cartoons. They actually had a Saturday morning cartoon.
That's
about
right, the
wrestling.
Hulk Hogan.
Billy Jim and everybody else.
But it wasn't them doing their voices, was it?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know. I think it was like they didn't have them doing the original voices. I think that would have been cool.
I mean, this is like a pre-Nintendo memory to me, so like, it's all funny. It feels like like a drinking memory almost, because I can't remember the specifics. But yeah, it was around that time, WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, the epic showdown. Andre the Giant was, to me, the ultimate villain. That's how I was introduced to him. Like him being a good guy, it's like that never happened in my brain. I didn't find out until years later. So that was the time I got in. I thought a great time for wrestling. Like you said, 15 is usually an age when people start to peter out as a fan. For me, I felt like that's when the Attitude Era started kicking in.
Right.
And then ECW, NWO, and I was like, well, I can't stop watching now. It's just getting good. Here I am, lifelong fan ever since. I took a dip maybe for 6-7 years in the early 2000s, but I'm back into it strong.
And I'm guessing, and then that's probably late 90s. That's kind of when you got into it, right?
It was more mid-90s. I started watching because of you.
Well,
it was
but
I wasn't introduced to WWF. You got me into WCW because that's when Hogan just got there and he was doing his thing, and Flair and Nash and Macho. It was like right before NWO came out, and it was like right when Nash and Hall made the jump and everything. That's when I started getting into it. And then when I was younger and I was going over to friends' houses and everything, like younger middle school, first grade, that's when the Attitude Era came. And that started getting crazy, obviously. I'm wearing the Rock jersey for back in the day. And that's when I was really getting into it. That's what I remember. And then after the Attitude Era, and then everything became PG. And that was when I was like maybe 16, 17, when they started doing the whole PG thing. I actually did fall out for about 3 years. I would try to tune in, like, whatever. If I went to an event, it was just spontaneous. I went for it because I was still a fan, but I wasn't paying attention that much. Mm-hmm. But then in recent years, obviously now I'm a wrestler. In recent years, I've got a lot more into it. Probably around 2010, 2011, I started getting more into it again.
Yeah, I guess I fell out at one point, but I kind of got in, I think, because you got into it. You were actually wrestling, so I got back in.
I kept telling you about it, talking about it. Then you got divorced. You had more time.
You had more time to watch wrestling.
Now I can watch.
What else am I going to do?
I don't have to watch Jeopardy anymore. Do you still watch Jeopardy?
No. But, and actually, interesting. I actually got you into. You didn't even know how early I really got you into wrestling because you were about 2 or 3, and I was teaching you how to stage dive.
What?
And you would go on the couch and you would dive off, and I would catch you like that and flip you over onto my belly. I would be like laying on the ground, and you would jump off the couch, and I would flip you. Yeah.
Oh,
and
fun.
now that's actually your finishing move in wrestling. You get up on the third rope and do the flip.
I took after the Jeff Hardy Swanton because that really influenced me. As a young kid, I was doing it in my bedroom and on the couch and everything.
Yeah, but that's how it started. I was teaching you to stage dive.
That's awesome.
This is a real sincere moment. I either A, feel awkward for being here, or B, want to see it reenacted right now for people watching.
Exactly.
And we should, before we go on, we should plug that you actually have you're in the main event coming up, January 30th, Friday night at the...
This month actually marks 2 years of me since I started training.
Cool.
To be a wrestler. And now I'm on a poster again. It hasn't been for a while, but this show is next Friday. Today's the 20th, so it is 10 days away on the 30th. And I'm in the main event against this guy right here. That's me. The red hair, if you can't really see it.
Your wrestling name is Jason Cage.
Yes,
People,
Jason Cage.
Don't look for Kyle Durkin on the poster.
No, he doesn't exist. Jason Cage is my name, not with a K, with a C. We had problems with that when I was starting to wrestle. And I'm going up against this guy here, Draven West. He's a jerk from Texas.
He looks like a jerk with that hat.
He is a jerk. He looks like a tool. He actually used to be my tag team partner. We used to be the Outlaws, and about a year and a half ago, we were in a tag match. I got slammed through a table. And it was kind of his fault. I blame him. He wasn't there for me. So now we're having it out in a street fight, and I'm going to beat the crap out of him. But it's January 30th in Kearney at the PBGC. The address is 633 Kearney Avenue. You can get tickets. Go. Have fun. Watch me beat the crowd out of somebody.
Support independent wrestling.
Yes, and also do that. We are very important. Nobody actually realizes it, but we are.
And while we're doing plugs, I have a show at the Hudson Blue Bar at 4800 Imperial Boulevard in Weehawken, and that's on Saturday, February 7th. It's a free show. It doesn't get any cheaper than that. And you have anything to plug before?
Yes, I host a comedy open mic. It's also free entrance, and any comic could show up also and perform. It's at a place called The Dopeness in Jersey City. Starts at 8 p.m. first and third Wednesday of every month. There will be no wrestling, but there will be tacos. So that's
cool.
Pretty good.
That's
right?
awesome. There'll be wrestling with the toilet. That's what we're doing.
So, and we should mention, like, going forward, we're not like shills for the WWE. We're aware of independent wrestling, obviously not just Kyle, but within the last month alone, Kyle and I, we went to TNA show, we went to PWS show, it's a big organization upcoming in Rahway, New Jersey here.
Actually, you got me into independent wrestling about 10 years ago when you took me to a show in Kearney and Tito Santana was there. That was an amazing day. So that's when independent wrestling started, the interest for me.
So, but yeah, we'll definitely along the way we'll be doing that. But obviously this week the big main thing we have to talk about is the upcoming Royal Rumble.
Of course, Royal Rumble 2015, and it looks like it's going to be an insane one. By the looks of it,
even the whole card, even the main event. I was for maybe a month or so, we thought it was just going to be John Cena and Brock Lesnar.
Exactly.
And I was ready to take a nap for that match.
We've been seeing that for 2 years.
We brought Brock Lesnar back for what? To fight the same guy. But then when Triple H put Seth Rollins in the match, and the fact that he's the Money in the Bank guy, and the way they've been building it recently, I just think that this main event has a new dynamic, and it's way more exciting now. It's got a lot more electricity to it, which is great, because the Royal Rumble itself is always electric. You could have the Royal Rumble and
it's my favorite pay-per-view.
Exactly. You could have a bad card, and everyone forgets about that
exactly.
in a week or so.
Once the Rumble match comes on, boom, who's going to come back for the Rumble? Who's going to win it? Just who's going to stay in the longest?
Right. What's Kofi going to do with his hands?
Exactly. What elaborate way is Kofi Kingston going to get thrown out of the ring into the second tier and find his way back into the ring without touching the floor? It's incredible, the things he does.
So, guessing now last night, everyone who saw Sting showed up, and John Cena got the job back, so I'm sure we're going to see Dolph Ziggler and Ryback and Eric Rowan are all going to be part of the Rumble.
Definitely.
Do you guys have any prediction who you think's going to win the Rumble?
You know what? Actually, right there, I have... See, I came prepared.
He brought notes.
Okay.
I did my homework.
You want
well, I have a
he's
prediction.
checking his notes.
I feel like this is the obvious choice, and I hate going the obvious route, but I'm predicting Daniel Bryan to win. I'm predicting Brock Lesnar to retain. I'm predicting that Brock Lesnar will still be booked as an unbeatable monster from here to Mania, and they'll throw Daniel Bryan into the same underdog routine for the road to WrestleManias last year. They're going to try to capture lightning in a bottle twice with it, and I really do. I think, and I hope too, as a fan, the mark inside of me really does want to see Daniel Bryan overcome the odds and beat the beast Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So maybe it's a little bit of what I really want that's influencing me to say that, but that
would be fun to see. That would be awesome.
And also, I can't sleep at night if I predict Roman Reigns to win. I don't want that on my conscience. So I don't hate him. I just don't think he's ready.
You know what it was that actually made me. You know what it was that actually made me fall out a few years back? It was because Cena kept winning the title all the time. And I was just like, you know what, I'm done. That's what made me walk away, because then they started switching it up, and then they just morphed the two titles.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they actually did that. So I think that's where it came from me. My prediction, I think, you know what, I'm actually going for Roman Reigns for the Royal Rumble. You know, he's phenomenal, and last year he actually broke Kane's record for most eliminations in the Royal Rumble. Kane's number of 11 in the 2001 Rumble, and he brought it up to 12 last year.
Mm-hmm. That seemed to be the way they're going. I don't know. It's everything seemed to be going towards Roman Reigns winning it, and then it's him on the mic lately. That he's got on the mic, and all over the internet, everyone is saying this guy's no good on the mic, and it was like. Yeah, they were kind of set to make him almost like the next Hulk Hogan, like he or Cena. He was going to be the guy for this generation.
I was saying like he
can't cut a promo though. So.
I mean, that's why I've always felt of the three guys from the Shield, I've always felt like Roman Reigns is very protected in the Shield. He didn't have to do a whole lot. He was on the same team with two great workers. All he had to do was come in, Superman punch somebody, intimidating, and it was great when it was just that. And he looked like a beast. But yeah, now that he's on his own, they're like, okay, Roman, go say some things on the mic, and suffering succotash comes out, and it's just but also I'm actually concerned about his in-ring ability. I don't think he has a very dynamic moveset. I feel like it's very.
It seems like he's still trying to find it. He's still trying to find like a few things.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. He has the look.
He's huge, obviously.
I just think WWE would be pulling a trigger that's not ready to be pulled just yet. I think Roman Reigns will have a great career, but I don't think
he's got the Samoan wrestling background.
Yeah, I feel like there's no need to push the situation when there's other guys that can get it done right now, and I look forward to the next 5-6 years of Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins doing their thing.
Seeing where they're going to go.
Yeah.
See, I don't actually think they're going to do my scenario, but the scenario I'd like to see, as far as the title match, I would like to see Seth Rollins pin John Cena to win. So that Brock Lesnar could still say, hey, I wasn't actually beaten. And then the following one's pay-per-view before WrestleMania, then have Brock Lesnar match up against Rollins. And Brock Lesnar is beating Rollins. He's just about to pin him. Looks like it's going to be over. And all of a sudden the lights go out, and it's The Undertaker. And he's coming back to avenge the 1 and 21-1 at WrestleMania.
Wow.
And he messes things up, so Rollins holds on to the title going into WrestleMania. Now,
that's quite the fantasy booking.
That's not the end of it. Now, the second part of the fantasy is that the Royal Rumble, the last two guys are Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, and they have one of those endings where both guys hit the floor at the same time.
Kind of like it's actually 10 years ago.
The main event at WrestleMania is the Shield triple threat match for the title.
That would be a killer scenario.
So you got the Shield triple threat match, the Undertaker Lesnar rematch. Obviously, they're gonna have the Sting Triple H match is already set. I think that would be an awesome WrestleMania.
You can just tell by the motives going on that's what's happening.
Oh yeah.
I had a different outlook on the title match. I was saying for a couple of weeks now between my friends that Lesnar would pin Cena and win the match, and then Rollins would cash in the Money in the Bank right afterwards and steal it from Lesnar. Or vice versa, Cena pins Lesnar.
The Money in the Bank is what makes this match.
Exactly.
Even, like a triple threat is good on its own. The drama is good on its own, but now you throw in the Money in the Bank. It's a whole new dynamic. I'm very happy to see, no matter how it plays out, I'm very happy to see that a Money in the Bank holder is in the title scene. He doesn't even need to cash in to get there, but he can cash in it. I mean, he could do anything. He could start off the night by cashing in. He could walk into the match.
Suspense comes with the Money in the Bank because you don't know what could happen. And the first person to make that clear was Edge when at New Year's Revolution, when out of nowhere he came out, surprised Cena and took the title from him.
Which was
amazing, phenomenal. I was jumping when that.
It's the way Money in the Bank should be done. It's the way it should be cashed in.
Exactly. They shouldn't have made once they made it into an actual pay-per-view.
Now the one thing I'd like to see, and it's late now for them to do. So I want like the J&J security out of there. I want like a straight up. No, I'm just saying for this match because there's so many. You know, the corporation gets involved and they put in this weird. So I just like to see a straight up triple threat match with the three guys without, you know, Kane or Triple H or anybody interfering and just have a straight triple. Because it's just every week.
Especially
that's all
Kane
it is now.
Anytime Kane comes out, it's like, oh, he's here to interrupt another match.
And it's J&J. I mean, because Seth Rollins is so good. He doesn't need J&J security. He's a great, you know. So that's
he does CrossFit training. That's like the most intense training I've heard. Like one of the most intense ones, and he does it every day.
Yeah, I just he's got a very very dynamic moveset. He flies around a lot.
Yeah. Very quick, agile.
Yeah, fun to watch. It's definitely fun to watch. But the counterpoint to that, I think J&J Security makes him look like an even better bad guy. It's like,
I mean, I understand. Obviously, there's always been managers interfering, but it's one thing to, I don't know, the ref has his head turned and the manager interferes. It's another thing when it's just like blatantly in there, and you know,
they were wrestlers 10 years ago, and now they're these goons who stand on the side.
It's not even like behind the ref's back. I mean, it's just like right in front of them.
They did that thing a couple weeks ago where they were both a referee. Did you see?
Right,
I was like, come on, what are you doing? Like having them both as a referee made no sense. But also, there's actually 4 tag team matches going on at the Royal Rumble. Also,
it's 4 now. Yeah.
We got the one that was announced last night on Raw, the big one, New Age Outlaws versus the Ascension.
Do we want to talk about the Ascension spot last night?
Sure.
How about what they've been saying the past month with the whole Legion of Doom and the Demolition?
That they're better than every. They're better than every classic tag team, basically. I don't mind that because they're trying to draw heat.
But they're also, I get it as they're carrying on that tradition of tag team, like they're the next ones in line. But they started getting really cocky about it and pissing people off. I mean, I guess that's the way.
The way they had them come out, like they were just fighting jobbers. You're like, listen to these guys stroke their own ego, and then they just beat 2 truck drivers from Tulsa or something. It's not that not that scary. I think what they did with them last night. I think the premise itself was great for the fans. Everyone, when JBL took a shirt off, everyone was like, "This is what's up." And then the New Age Outlaws come out, and it's everything you ever wanted to see in tag teams from the past 15 to 20 years. But I feel like because the Ascension got buried there, there's almost no way that the New Age Outlaws are going to beat them at the Rumble. It's like the Ascension.
There's so much rage inside.
The Ascension need to win this match.
Did you notice how fat Farouk got? Did you see that?
Damn.
He didn't even, He didn't even do anything in the ring. He just stood there.
And I thought he was the one who was going to come out and hurt somebody.
You know what else I noticed too? When NWO was still in the ring and the Ascension's music hit, you can tell how much of X-Pac, Sean Waltman, is like a rocker, a metal. Because once they came out, he just started headbanging the music.
He couldn't hold it in.
Exactly.
This guy's got a great song, man.
I was laughing when that happened.
I actually thought that was sort of a case of the WWE listening to their fans on the internet too, because everything I've seen, nobody's really buying the Ascension thing.
Right.
They're trying to make them like, they're
the
Road Warriors,
NXT, and then they brought them up to WWE.
Yeah, but
you know.
But I think it's not. It's just like they're not as big. I mean, like the Road Warriors were guys so much bigger and more powerful. I mean, these guys are like they're just regular sized, for wrestlers. And I don't know. I don't think people are buying it. I think that was part of what they did last night. Like they were just, they might have, like you said, they'll probably have something. Because what are they going to do? I mean, the New Age Outlaws aren't the future, so they might do something up their sleeve where they. But I don't know. I think that was sort of the fans like kind of not buying it, and then they gave the fans what they wanted.
The Ascension's promos have not helped. I mean,
sometimes they're intimidating, but
but then you say something corny and it rhymes.
When they keep repeating the whole "lazy to do" thing, it's just like, all right, get over it. Yeah, and then they're coming up with their corny little lines that they're saying. Like yesterday, I noticed they were saying a lot of them. I was like, okay. But then we also have the tag team title match: the Usos versus Miz and Damien Mizdow.
Right.
I love Mizdow.
Are Miz and Mizdow in the Royal Rumble match?
I hope they are
because I want to see Mizdow.
We all know what's gonna happen.
Yes.
He's just Miz gonna get eliminated by somebody. He's gonna throw himself over the top rope. Everyone's gonna go nuts. And that's what I want to see happen. What do we have also? We have the New Day, Big E, Kofi, and Xavier Woods in a 6-man against Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, and Adam Rose.
Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, that's the biggest waste of talent going on on that team right now. It's I don't.
They should not be paired together. Tyson Kidd.
Yeah. Well, and then with Adam Rose, I feel like Adam Rose sticks out really. It's like Tyson Kidd and Cesaro are like these no-nonsense good wrestlers, and Adam Rose
it's one of those
that likes to party.
It's one of those I'm gonna go pee matches.
Yeah, probably.
Which used to be the Divas matches, which is actually probably one of the biggest tag matches of the night.
Because with Cesaro, I don't understand what they did with him. Because they were giving Cesaro a big push in the summer, and he was kind of like gonna, and then they just sort of pulled the rug out from under him and ended his push. It's almost like they gave Ryback Cesaro's push. You know, he was sort of the Ryback. He was supposed to be the most powerful guy and beating everyone, and now they're kind of doing that with Ryback. And he just kind of fell off the earth. And you're right, it is just a weird pairing of guys.
Right. Which is interesting. If Cesaro is still the Ryback guy, to see him maybe go up against Rusev, I think I'd really like to see that match.
Yeah.
And then they have him with Jason, and then they have the Natalya thing, and they're sort of doing the angle with Natalya and the Bellas and Kid, but meanwhile he's in this tag thing, so it's all weird.
Yeah, no, and that's the other tag match going on. They have Paige and Natalya, who have had a weird, I don't know if you guys pay attention to main event and superstars, but they've been having weird matches where Paige was a few months ago coming on sexually to Natalya, and Natalya was not having it in matches, and now they're tag teaming and it's them against the Bella Twins. So I think that should be kind of an exciting match to see, because all four of them are very athletic. I mean, we've seen Paige and Natalya wrestle live.
Right.
I think Paige and Natalya can go. I'm never too excited to watch the Bellas wrestle.
Right, the Bellas, they're
Nikki Bella did that finisher. That's pretty exciting. But I definitely think that all the wrestling is on one side in this match. Paige and Natalya, I think they should be able to beat the Bellas, no problem. But
maybe they'll do again something with the Tyson Kidd thing and play that thing out. I don't know if they gave up on that, but
I don't know. They seem to be going good with it for a while. The whole with him and Natalya, and just the way that they got that because they saw how he treated her on Total Divas, and now they just made that into a thing. She managed it. She comes out with it, and he just ignores it the whole time.
Yeah, right. And
that's every match in the Rumble.
And that's so there's 6 matches total, but obviously the Royal Rumble itself is over an hour.
Yeah.
So that's a solid card. So that's we have any special predictions on anything else that we think might happen, or
how about people that might show up in the Rumble?
I think Sheamus will be back in the Rumble.
Where did he go?
He was on injury leave. I believe he's actually supposed to show up on SmackDown on Thursday. I'm not sure if he's going to be in a match. I think he might.
Oh, that's another thing.
I'm
sorry. On Thursday, SmackDown, the big match is Kane versus Daniel Bryan. If
Daniel
Bryan loses, he's out of the Rumble.
Right, which I can't see that happening.
Well, yeah, obviously, but we all know. I mean,
there would be a
what's going on right now
if they screwed over Daniel Bryan. I mean, if they're going to screw over Daniel Bryan, they at least got to wait until the Rumble to do it.
Yeah,
it's just way too.
Now, another rumor I saw going around the internet, which would be interesting, because the Royal Rumble is taking place in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And Philadelphia, of course, back in the day is ECW country. There is a rumor of the Dudley brothers, Dudley boys,
I saw that today.
coming into the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
that would be something
having
Are they not contracted?
They're right now. They're not with the TNA. I think they're kind of talking.
They kind of ducked on TNA after they brought them after they put them in the Hall of Fame. And then they just kind of haven't shown their
They were
face.
like, thank you for the induction.
We're
going to go
leave
home
now. Yeah, we're going to go home.
We're gonna wait out the Royal Rumble, see if we get that invite from Vince.
Yeah, they were not there a few weeks ago when the TNA started back up again.
Yeah.
TNA kind of went down and restarted, and they were not there now. So that's one thing. I've also heard of RVD, possibly another ECW connection.
Okay.
So that would
Think maybe it'll be another Chris Jericho sighting.
Maybe.
Anybody?
Chris, well,
Actually, he's only doing live tour, which is what we're going to the live.
We're going to.
He signed on for that, but he's not doing TV shows.
He's not doing TV.
He was just doing like a string of like 20 live shows this month. Last month, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to his podcast too. Talk is Jericho. So.
But actually, and isn't he doing? Is that he who's doing something during the day?
Oh yeah, he's doing something. There's something going on at the Dave & Buster's in Philadelphia. It's Eric Bischoff and
Tom Pritchard.
Bruce
Pritchard.
Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah.
They're having a debate about like the whole Monday Night Wars, and there was a couple weeks ago when Jericho had them on his show. They did like a whole like a half-hour like piece of the debate, but it's going to be like 2 hours long or so. And Jericho on his show, they told him, you should come and mediate the thing. So now he's going to be included in that, and it's like right down the block from where the Rumble is.
What's the debate?
About they're debating. They're just going to be going back and forth about the Monday Night Wars.
Okay.
Like to both their sides on it, the WWF side, the WCW side. There was a lot of. They were talking about the whole like when DX showed up with the tank outside NWO. On the other side, what a lot of people didn't know, on the other side of that door, the garage door, it was like Nash and Hall and a few of those guys like Macho and Flair. They were ready. They were saying like, just open the door. We'll make it fun. We'll beat the crap out of each other.
That would have been something else.
They were actually on the other side. They were debating. They were like 2 seconds away from lifting the door, and somebody said no, or else there's going to be real problems. So. That's
because if they would have let him go, the WWE guys would have had to.
Yeah.
They would have had no choice. They would have had to act.
Nobody realizes it was unless you have the WWE Network and you're watching it for $9.99. And you're watching the Monday Night Wars episodes, you realize it was a real turf war. It was really serious.
I thought an interesting thing was like, and I watched one about Chris Jericho, how when he first went to WWE. He wasn't well received in the locker room,
and he was like sitting out half the time.
Yeah,
and he didn't have a really good angle until with China, like 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah, which is like, I almost forget, in hindsight, he had a rough time at first, and it's almost crazy.
Because at that time, still, that's like somebody from say. The Taliban coming and joining the No, seriously, that's just like I didn't know what kind of. All right, fine. Somebody from the Red Sox.
Let's see his resume. Maybe
that's like Pedro Martinez back 10 years ago jumping to the Yankees. People they would have been like.
That's probably a little bit. That's a little more politically correct. And then something just else for anyone out there who's out. While WWE is doing a house show in East Rutherford the night before Royal Rumble. The Ring of Honor Wrestling is actually taking advantage. They're doing, I believe it's in the old ECW arena in Philadelphia on Saturday night. So there's all sorts of wrestling going on this coming weekend around the whole Royal Rumble.
That's one of my favorite things about these big events is that the indie guys come in and they try to find space in the local area because they know that's it.
Yeah,
this is the center of the wrestling universe right now. I went to a Ring of Honor show for WrestleMania and it was. 2 days before WrestleMania, I think last year, and it was just phenomenal. And you knew that these guys knew, like, this is it, it's showtime, and they just put on a hell of a show.
A lot of great guys come from there. Samoa Joe, CM Punk came from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I highly recommend, especially knowing that they know that this is their time to get the spotlight in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
probably a hell of a show to catch.
I also got some fun Royal Rumble facts. Maybe some people know. Maybe I don't know if any of you guys know. The man with the most Royal Rumble wins is Stone Cold Steve Austin with 3, and 4 men hold the title for having 2 wins, and that's Hogan, Michaels, John Cena, and Batista. Batista won last year. The longest time spent in the Rumble was by Rey Mysterio. He was in there for an hour and 2 minutes in 2006, and the third was actually Bob Backlund. For an hour and 1 minute in '93, but he was eliminated. He didn't last that long.
Poor Bob.
Yeah, poor Bob. Shortest time was, and you guys both might remember this, the Warlord. He was only in there 2 seconds.
I thought Santino broke that record.
He did. He was.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was getting at.
All right.
For 20 years, it was the Warlord for 2 seconds, and then in 2009.